Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's Devin Thomas back with another episode of Unscripted. How's everybody doing? Another week, another day, another fucking day in America. Just living it. Today's the 25th episode, which is another milestone as far as I'm concerned. I know 20 was only 5 episodes ago, but I don't know. I feel like since I've done the 20th episode, I've kind of just picked up like a fuel to just keep going with the podcast. I guess I'll say this. I've gotten like so many people reaching out and saying like, dude, the podcast is really great. And you know, it's funny. I appreciate everybody. One, I just want to say that. Thank you so much for even like fucking listening. And then also like coming in with the perspective of like, oh, like people actually enjoy it, I guess is the comment I'm getting. And like, I think, and this is funny too, is I mentioned in the past, like, oh, only like really dudes listen to my podcast. I've had men and women message me and say like, hey, like I love the take, I love the perspective, and you know, that means everything to me because like I really didn't make this thing to be like, I guess, seen or heard in that sense. Like I have a lot to say, sure, but like when I started making this podcast, it was really because I just loved the medium and I felt like, you know what, I'd love to do that. And it was never my main thing, you know, making films and directing and writing is my main thing. And like, I think that actually gives me a lot of like, I wouldn't even call it creative license, but it gives me a lot of liberty to just come on here and like not take it not serious, but not get so caught up in being like, you know, this is what I'm trying to show the world what I can do. It's just like, you know, I'm doing this because like I got a lot to say. I just want to talk and like give my takes on things. And like what I'm discovering through doing Unscripted is that my take isn't too far off from maybe like most people's take. And like, I don't mean it's generic, but speaking to people in a universal way that I don't talk down. I try to like, you know, make sure that like when I speak with, you know, a cool and level head, if you want to call it that. And like kind of, you know, I don't know, just speak what I think like a modern millennial 32-year-old person would think. And obviously it's resonating because I've gotten great response. And I think it's just cool. You know, half the reason you do one of these podcasts is to connect with people and see if they feel the things you're feeling. And it makes you feel, I wouldn't say it makes you feel less alone, but it makes you feel more connected to your generation or even people, you know, age is just a number as far as I'm concerned, mentality and like headspace and perspective on life and, you know, whatever, everything that makes up a person is so important. And it's cool that it's just, you know, transcended just my initial, like, hey, I'm just going to come up here and talk a little bit about my film journey, which I am going to talk about, but it's cool. It's just kind of morphed into this thing. And like, also I'd say since number 25, I've been able to also generate more podcasts more frequently because I started thinking, I'm like, you know, the week goes by and like, I used to think one a week was a lot. I was like, I don't know if I can even do that. Like, that's a big commitment because it's a craft. And, you know, I've been practicing the craft for, I think we're going on 6 months now, maybe 5 months. I think I started it February, middle of the winter, maybe January. I can't remember. Let's just say 6 months. I've gotten 6 months deeper into doing this and I've gotten 6 months better. And I'll say that like, I talk about this with everything like editing, filmmaking, screenwriting, directing, I think I mentioned writing, but like writing specifically, you know, it's just something like the more you do it, the better you get. I had a friend tell me, you don't think Seinfeld is not funny. You haven't watched enough Seinfeld. You don't think golf is boring. You just haven't played enough golf. I like that because it's very true. I guess I hadn't done enough podcasting yet. Now I feel like I've gotten to a point where like, I think I found my voice. I think these are coming out pretty like consistent and like, I'm not trying to talk inside baseball, by the way. I'm just saying like, I'm just being transparent. Like, I feel like this is kind of, you know, by the 25th episode, I've been able to just really accomplish a lot with this medium and find my place in this medium, and it's cool. And I'm able to pop out a couple more podcasts a week than I was previously. I'm able to just, you know, get on here and speak and give my hot takes on like, you know, the South Park episode or this or that. Today, I'll be talking a little bit about the Sydney Sweeney controversy because I just think it's fucking ridiculous, but we're going to talk about it and we're going to get into it and we're going to talk all things Sydney Sweeney. But, that being said, yeah, I just been reflecting, like, you know, I feel like a fucking big part of this too is just like I come on here and I kind of reflect on my thoughts, and it's like I do this with even, you know, Stevie and Christine, but like I get another chance to do it with a bigger audience and more people. And yeah, also on that note, like the audience is pretty humble, but still I had a video that got pretty popular this week, and it was cool to see that, you know, there's a discourse that followed it in the comment section, and like people are talking and like, my takes aren't here to offend anybody. They're just you call it honest arrogance. These are just my takes. And like, I'm just a dude, you know, just fucking making movies, writing scripts, living my life, doing, you know, business and shit. And I'm just here to just kind of say my piece. And like, it's just funny that when other people get into like even the comment section, like there's been nothing offensive, but like people do talk and like people, it's cool. It starts a conversation is what I'm getting at. It's just interesting to see how when you put out content and see the way people react, it's just, it's an interesting thing. And I think it's really cool that like, I'm giving a take and then people are talking below the take and their take. And like, as the internet, right? It's a rabbit hole. It just never ends. It's just a black hole of fucking opinions and fucking shit just out there in the digital universe. But anyways, this week was good. I got, a lot done. I actually was able to send a bunch of scripts out to one of my friends. They're a talent floater at Gersh. And I'm really excited about that because she's in a good position to, get these scripts in the right hands. And that's like, I don't like saying it's all about who you know, but, it's important to keep connections open because to some extent life is about who you know. Like who you know is going to be who may open the door to something that you thought was like out of reach or impossible. And like, is very generous. She's taking a look. Is very generous that she's in the position she's in and she's willing to do so. And like, I thank her very much. But also it's like, how do you keep connections open? How do you keep in contact with people? It kind of goes into even directing. I hate to say it. A lot of people that want to direct, they're afraid to talk to people. They want to be the director in the chair in the shadows being like, hey, tell them this, tell them that. And it's like, no. Like you got to be a people person. And this can apply to all life, not just directing, but like specifically with directing for me, like I was a little shyer when I was younger, not very shy, but like I was definitely a little bit more like, well, I don't know if I want to tell somebody what to do or like be too commanding and controlling. And quite frankly, you got to get over it. You're never going to be a successful director or whatever in life if you want to be the quiet. You can be reserved, but if you're the quiet person who just doesn't want to say one word and is afraid of life and shit, like you're just never going to get what you want. You're going to get walked all over. You got to be able to voice yourself and say, hey, I want this. This is what I need. I can answer that. You got to be there for people. You got to be present. And it's a very present moment job, like directing and, writing, you get your moment. You're doing it in the moment. Sure, you're like behind the keyboard and clicking away and you're living in your own mind. But when you're directing, you're right there with people. It's a very like, what do you need from me? This is what I need. Can we do this? And it's, when I was even directing Peninsula Nights, not for one moment did I stop and like get my phone out just to check fucking Instagram or check an email. I was 100% there. And I know the actors were as well. Nobody got their phones out. It was a very like, as time flew by, hours flew by, but as tough and crazy as that experience was, and it was crazy and it was tough. Like, we were shooting an indie with no money, just 3 people out in the fucking streets of Carmel and Monterey, California, and just really just fucking making this thing happen. If the story's so ridiculous, you guys wouldn't believe this movie got made the way it got made. But that being said, it was just so present moment, and life is a very present moment thing. The more passive you live your life, the harder it is going to be for you to, just get ahead. And like, I understand, like I say this too a lot because we talk a lot, I'll talk with Stevie and Christine even just about like life and like people and how, most people are living a passive life. They're letting life just happen. You got your job, you go out, you do your thing, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like life is, it's a tough thing, for a lot of people. Like sometimes like, just having the security and having it set up where, you can sleep good at night knowing the bills are paid and everything's going to be okay tomorrow. Your job's going to be there, yada, yada, yada. That's fine. But like when you're a creative, you're a risk taker by nature. You're going against the odds. You're saying, fuck it. Maybe this will not work out. Maybe I won't be able to, be a full-time filmmaker, a full-time writer, an actor, actress, whatever you want to do. But you can take the risk. And if you're willing to take the risk, and maybe I call it, defer your other dreams and bank on this one for a little bit, you can really trudge slowly up that hill. And it's a fucking big hill. It's Mount Olympus. But if you stick with it and you actually fucking try and put in the energy and put in the effort and don't give up and don't think that I can't get to the top of this mountain, because you can see other people are up there. You can see them. And you're like, how'd you get up there? And the more you fucking dig deeper into this game, the more you're going to see that these people are just people like you. They just didn't give up. And those people are the people that stayed connected. They stayed talking. They stayed present. They never thought, yes, you think about the future, but you're also staying present. You're like, how can I get closer to that future that I want? And if you're a creative, or if you're just somebody making a business, whatever your future is, whatever Mount Olympus you are going to climb, you're going to need to just not give up. You're going to need to just keep moving forward. And that's something that I've done. And like, to relate it back to, my friend who's working over at the agency, it's, she's somebody who obviously, continued to work hard and get into the system. Right. And they, I've done the same on my own. But, you know, when paths start lining up, things start happening, right? And you start getting those connections organically. I think it's Rumi, but he says if if you choose to take the path will reveal itself to you. Something like that. Don't quote me, but it's a great quote. Besides the point, that's true. The path, the more I resisted the filmmaking path and was like, you know what, I'm just gonna do the right thing. I'm gonna work a regular job, whatever. The further away I felt from it. But the more I just started saying like, you know what, like this isn't like, it's like a disease. Like this isn't gonna go away. I want it. I need it. It's an internal calling. I sometimes even claim it's a vocational calling to some extent, that this is what I'm meant to do, is be in this field, in this space. And that's like why creatives stick with it. Some people think these creatives are crazy. Why even continue doing it? It's like, that's the thing. You're so invested spiritually. It's not just about the money. It's not just about the glory. It's about just doing the work and doing the art and being a part of something bigger than you. And that could go into even the podcast. For me right now, it's like obviously the filmmaking, the movies, etc. Anything you're doing, you're trying to get closer to that. And I think this is an important thing to bring up because I think about that. You know, I'm saying like paths lining up, other people in your life coming together to make this, like, these connections start revealing themselves, right? And it's just crazy because if you haven't heard of it, there's a thing, the 6 degrees of separation, which says basically like anybody you want to meet in the world is about 6 social interactions away from each other, right? And it's not a bad like school of thought because it's true. Like you don't know, like this person I met through the sibling and, you know, that's how like the connections lasted. You know, it's a small separation there, but man, I've met people all over the United States and let alone the world where it's just like, oh, some like interaction led to me meeting them. And then they knew so-and-so. And like, that's how you get the connections you get in life. It's very like, I guess this thing is like, they say this even in like corporate business, but like, you know, soft touch, like always stay in touch with people. Like, hey, it's okay to like, you know, reach out and like, make sure you always like keep up with your Rolodex, your contacts. It's fucking true. It's simple advice, but it's so prudent. And like, that goes into the 6 degrees of separation is like, if you want to meet more people and get more connected and stay up with people, reach out. Don't be afraid to talk to people. Don't be the shy person sitting in the shadows. Be the fucking person, you know, going to the front line socially and help that be how you grow yourself, your business, whatever you're doing, your network. Like, it's just an important thing. And like filmmaking, it's not 100% about networking, but yes, it's important to know people. It's important to have people that are in the same field as you, because how else are you going to get it out there? Unless you're like a hobbyist and you're not trying to like make it a full-time thing or like really get your shit out there. I understand. But if you're doing whatever you're doing to try and like, you know, really make a dent, like make sure you stay in touch with people, make sure you reach out, you talk. It makes a big difference. And it goes a long way. You know, people are people. We all want to stay connected. We're all doing the same shit. As far as I'm concerned, people grow much less egotistical with age. They have a lot more fucking self-respect. But people are people, and people love to help people. And people want to work. They want to feel needed and useful. And it's as simple as that. So treat people good, fucking stay in touch with people. And yeah, it's a major game changer as far as I'm concerned for anybody who's in the creative field. Is just don't be afraid to reach out to old friends, old people you haven't talked to in a while. I had a buddy even text me from, he went and saw a movie on 35. I think he went to Tarantino's theater, the Vista, and saw like the Kill Bill Whole Bloody Affair. And he texted me saying like, hey man, it's like a Cannes print, the same one they played. Just got the French subtitles. I'm like, you know, like, I was interested, and I'm talking about it now. That's how interested I was. I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, that sounds awesome. And it's like, I haven't talked to him in a long time. And I was like, fuck it. You know, if you're reaching out and you're willing to say something like, yeah, let's chat, you know, and it's good to keep up. That's all I'm saying. So anyways, the next thing I want to talk about is the Sydney Sweeney American Eagle jean controversy. Oh my God. It's a fucking jean commercial. Like straight up, like I and I don't understand, but I get how it was like politicized and made to seem like it was some fucking eugenics campaign, which is just fucking ridiculous. American Eagle sells jeans. Sydney Sweeney's got great jeans. They're talking about her jeans. She says in the commercial, they make her butt look good. All right. Yeah. I don't think anyone's going to fucking argue with this commercial unless they're, maybe retarded. I have the stats here for like how much it helped American Eagle stock. But anyways, my hot take, it's an American Eagle ad. It's a jean ad. I think we've seen people be sexualized in ads for fucking our entire life. You know, it's nothing new. Sydney Sweeney pops her tits out in Euphoria. That's okay. But she wears clothing in an ad campaign for a well-known jean company that's just trying to sell jeans. And they sell jeans to men and women, as far as I know. And I don't think it had anything to do with eugenics or race. I think she is a super famous person in the American film scene and just in general. She's a massive celebrity. Yeah, it was an obvious choice. Great. I thought the campaign was good. It was very classic. Wasn't offended at all. Thought it was 0% racist. I think that's just media conjecture. And I thought it was self-aware. It seemed comedic, in tone as far as I'm concerned. But anyways, I just thought it was funny. I also thought it was funny because, despite the fake outrage, American Eagle stock surged 10 to 17%, showing how controversy boosts exposure. Also, it says they made about $200 million in those gains. So I don't know who's fucking laughing now. I assume the American Eagle execs are all happy. Wall Street's happy. Shareholders are happy. What are they going to do? I think people are going to buy American Eagle jeans regardless of this ad. I think that the outrage is just, it's nonsense. It's just a headline as far as I'm concerned. But I thought it was funny because it's just been the center point of all the pundits and the talking heads on TV and the internet. And it's just, I don't know. I wasn't offended. I thought it was just a fucking ad. I did talk to some ladies about it, and their opinion was that maybe girls didn't like it because it was so sexual and it could make them envious of Sydney Sweeney and their fucking, I don't know. I guess some girls just don't like that, right? And that was the woman's take I heard, and I was I get that for sure. Seeing it through the female gaze, that makes sense. Through the male gaze, to be a little bit more misogynist on that point, yeah, I get where where they're selling who they're selling to, young men, probably fans of Sydney Sweeney or any men, right? But at the end of the day, they are selling jeans, and the commercial wasn't ridiculously sexual. It's innuendos and implied, but. Yeah, I mean, I think the bathwater soap was a bigger outrage than this. And just, are you surprised? It's Sydney Sweeney. She's a great marketing genius. She knows how to keep herself relevant, and she's a great actress. So, yeah, celebrities do crazy shit like this. And it's obviously to probably not just advertise herself, but, I think there's a lot of earned media here for her. She didn't have to do too much to get in these headlines. The ad came out and the fucking, all the fucking press did its own thing. They made this a thing, which is even funnier. She won. The only person who really won from the situation, other than the American Eagle and their shareholders, is fucking Sydney Sweeney. Got a ton of free press, still relevant. People still love her, and she's still going to do her thing on the big screen. So, yeah. Was I offended by it? Like I said, no. If you were offended by it, I'm sorry, but you must be really sensitive. Anyways. That's all I got to say on that. This is a quick one, guys. I'm Devin Thomas, and this is another episode of Unscripted. I'll talk to you guys again.